On September 17th, 2013, GTA 5 was finally launched after 2 delays, 2 years of waiting, and maybe days of counting until we can finally play the next entry in the GTA franchise. Personally, I was lucky enough to find a dark alleyway with a shady man who had a car loaded full of hundreds of copies of the game that he either stole or knew the right distribution center for. Regardless, I handed him the money, got my PS3 copy, and surprisingly enough, it did work after I rushed home. So then, the moment finally arrived. I finally got to play GTA 5 after many years of waiting. Fast forward 2 days later, and I had played the game for 30 hours and I had eyes that would rival Snoop Dogg on a 3-day bender. Good times indeed. But on October 1st is where the party really began. GTA Online was officially launched. As I sat in college using VPN to watch a Twitch stream of others playing the game, rumors and news started to spread. People couldn't log on. They couldn't play. This, however, was only the tip of the iceberg.
Ah boy, here we go.
Prior to the launch of GTA Online, Rockstar basically warned us for what was about to happen. They didn't expect GTA 5 to actually sell for like $1 billion in 3 days, so yeah, they were kinda scrambling together every server they could find. It was effectively DEFCON 1 and they were bracing for impact. And well, that it did. Millions of people were trying to log on to the server at once, and unfortunately for them, all they heard was Solwax FM as they saw a car driving in front of them and then quickly disappearing again and again and again.
Oh, oh my god, my penis hurts! I've seen this same cutscene like 500 times! Let me race! Oh my god! It's not working. I'm not enjoying myself right now. Work! Please! No!
Personally, I got pretty lucky. By the time I was home, it was a few hours after lunch and I could get past Lamar's race without too much hassle. Others, however, weren't as lucky. In the days that followed, the issues continued. I personally remember spending hours trying to get the money together so I could purchase an apartment by playing nothing but Violent Duct. You know, the Gerald mission, which effectively was the very first rooftop rumble. The way that it went is that you started off with Violent Duct, then you went to Parking Garage, and then you went to Rooftop Rumble. Rinse and repeat until you are rank 100 or however much rank you want to be and have enough money. Ironically enough, I didn't want to start grinding the same mission over and over and over again and instead just kind of explore everything the game had to offer. But because I was so dead set on getting an apartment, I started grinding Violent Duct over and over and over again so I could start doing heists as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I failed to realize that these didn't come out until March 2015. At rank 18 and $200,000 in the bank, I logged off for the night, thinking that if I were to log on tomorrow, I could buy myself a brand new apartment. Only to find myself back at rank 10 with thousands of dollars gone missing the next day. And unfortunately, this wasn't a rare occurrence at all. Thousands had their progress reset, if not hundreds of thousands. Others just simply couldn't get in at all. It was an actual mess. Words cannot really describe how bad GTA Online's launch was. I could show you footage, I could show you comments. Everyone is going to share roughly the same experience. It got to a point where Rockstar even disabled the shark card purchases.
What?
Yes, I know, it was that serious. And Rockstar had to do something, and they had to do it quick. So on October 5th, 4 days after the launch of GTA Online, the very first patch dropped to try and tackle all these issues. First on the list, letting people actually play the game and letting them pass the tutorial race, Mall or Nothing, so they wouldn't spend all their time just learning the tracklist of Solwax FM that would ruin their eardrums. The first steps to prevent people from also having their entire progress wiped was also attempted to be patched, but as you might expect, Rockstar really was very far from being done. So 4 days later, on October 9th, patch 1.03 was dropped, and this aimed to really tackle those character deletion and progress loss. This seemed to have done the trick, and people could finally play without losing their progress. Which of course only meant one thing: money glitches! It went from as simple as to finding a new session and robbing the same convenience store to selling your adder for $180,000 every minute. Meanwhile, Rockstar went on an apology tour and was going to give everyone $500,000 for releasing a not really functioning online video game. After the game became stable, of course, because no point giving $500,000 if it's gonna be gone the next day. And you guessed it, on October 18th, Rockstar fixed the issue, because there was definitely an issue with you accidentally selling 20 adders in the span of 30 minutes. All these glitches with selling the adder, it also caused the adder to just outright not being able to be sold for years. I had an adder from way back in 2013, never had done a money glitch in my life, and I still couldn't sell it. Along with all those fixes, more efforts were also made to make the game more stable, because the tutorial was still broken and still people couldn't get past the tutorial race, and they were also still losing progress and personal vehicles. And yes, this is 17 days after the game officially launched. Though the issues were getting significantly better than the first few days, and most people, if not all of them, were really able to start finally experiencing for what the game had to offer. But you have to wonder how many people at that point had already just ditched GTA Online because they thought it was going to be broken forever, and how many actually did give it a fair chance. Actually, I'm quite interested. Let me know in those comments down below. The very first quality of life change was also made in patch 1.04. Dying now only costs you $500 instead of $2,000. Yes, I am not joking. The first few weeks of GTA Online, you would lose $2,000 in free roam every time that you die. So if you were messing around with friends, the bullets and explosives were cheaper than the deaths. Now imagine in today's GTA Online's free roam sessions, if you were to lose $2,000 every single time that you died. You'll be broke within an hour. Some time went by and Rockstar continued their efforts with patch 1.05 released on November 5th, which prevented further stat losses when the cloud servers went down and you would shut off your game. Yes, the game was that broken that even if you were to shut off your game the normal way, you could still lose progress. A month after release. And on November 6th, they finally gave everyone their $500,000, and thus marking the end of over a month of working around the clock to make the game in a stable state. And with that in mind, November 13th rolled around and the Beach Bomb DLC was announced. The very first and free DLC for GTA Online. The Beach Bomb DLC was officially released on November 19th, 2013. The DLC added over 170 new clothing items, as well as new hairstyles and tattoos, a broken bottle melee weapon, the SNS pistol, the Bifta, Kalahari, Paradise, and Speeder boat. All the content within the DLC was available for free, so you could just pick up as many as you want without having to worry about how much money you're really spending, which obviously makes a lot of sense considering we spent the past month losing nothing but our progress. Good times. However, patch 1.06 was the big one. Many money glitches were patched, payouts were adjusted in game modes to be based on average time completed rather than doing one lap Criminal Mastermind races for easy money. Contact missions were given hard mode, Pegasus vehicles now only cost you $200 to request instead of $1,000, and Lester would now remove cops for $200 per star rather than the $1,000 every single time. Oh, and those tanks and buzzards you had stored in your garage? Not allowed anymore. Which is ironic if you think about it, because 4 years later in the Doomsday heist they let you store a tank and a literal gunship in your facility. But, most importantly, they removed a piece of cardboard from the down the drain race, and killing a pedestrian with a golf ball wouldn't freeze your game anymore. Patch 1.06 was basically the point where Rockstar said, yeah, the game is stable now, let's start adding some stuff to the game. And so they did. For the next 8 years! But for as broken and as flawed GTA Online was when it first launched, and some might argue it still is, Myself and many others have very fond memories of that time. Till this day, there isn't really anything out there like GTA Online, and when people speak of the good old days of GTA Online, I don't think it has as much to do with the overall type and amount of content of the game. I feel that it mostly stems from wanting to have an experience like that again. GTA Online has turned 8 years old today, and I think there's nothing really that Rockstar can do to really ignite that fire and that passion that everyone had for the game all those years ago. Here's hoping that whenever GTA 6's multiplayer comes out, it will be just as magical as GTA Online's launch was. Just perhaps a little bit less chaotic and problematic. But those are just some of my thoughts. Of course, I'd love to know what you think down in the comment section down below. What are some of your memories and or nightmares with the GTA Online launch? Let me know in those comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and if you really like what you see on the channel, consider becoming a member. Like Chloe, Robert, newswire, Captain Price, Shakulu, Madman Dakota, and Dr. Strangelove. Join them and the other members by clicking the join button down below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all later.